knew this was a bad idea. Like, I knew, and I still did it anyway. So, if you're here for dating advice, I just want to go ahead and say this early. You came to the wrong place. But if you've ever ignored your gut, made a questionable decision, and then had to sit there like, yeah, that's on me, you're in the right place. So, welcome to the podcast. This might go left. And this is Disasters in Dating, Part 1, Backstory Origin. So, like I said, this is not a dating advice podcast. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm only here to tell you what I did. And you can decide, judge me, learn from it, or I don't know, go make the same mistakes yourself. It's your call. Some of the stuff I did when I first started out, it felt solid. And others, well, we just call it questionable. And honestly, some of the stuff I still do is questionable. Like, let's be real. So I think the best way to start this Disasters in Dating series is the backstory. Not a full deep dive, but enough for you to understand how I got here, enough to get a picture of who I was. All right, get your old fashioned ready. I was married. I married my high school sweetheart. Aww. Everyone says, oh my gosh, that's so sweet. That's so cute. Hashtag couple goals. And it was until it wasn't. We got married before I even knew how to order a drink at a bar. I guess what I'm trying to say is I skipped the adult dating phase completely. There was no awkward hookups with strangers, no one night stands. Oh, there was no swiping left or right. I didn't have like the college lesbian phase, or I'm doing hashtags right now, air quotes, experimental phase. I had no walk of shames. I mean, there wasn't even the experience of ever receiving a unsolicited, ooh, that was a hard word, unsolicited D-pic. There was the high school setup of, hey, my friend thinks you're cute. Here's a note. What does it say? You want to go out? Check yes or no. And yeah, somehow that turned into a marriage. When I was in college, I was already in the mindset of I'm in a committed relationship, I'm building our future. I mean, I had to be because my high school boyfriend decided to move down to where I was going to college after a year. So I mean, it was going somewhere. We were building a future. And then of course we secretly moved in together. My parents thought I was at the dorms, and then the year after they thought I was in the dorms and we were secretly living together. They thought I had moved into an apartment with my friend from work, my girl, like my female friend from work. But the reality was we were secretly living together. We were playing house, and I was so sure that I had everything figured out. So sure for the future. I mean, I even got a tattoo to prove it. And I'm going to continue being honest, okay? It is a Chinese character that allegedly says together. To this day, I'm actually too afraid to ever check and verify that what the character means. But I mean, at the time, the funny thing that I missed was if I really had my shit together, I would have researched and thought of a meaningful tattoo instead of picking it out of the tattoo shop book and go like, oh yeah, that feels right. Yeah, because like I'm so lucky because I have my life together, best boyfriend ever, stupid stuff. But let's fast forward. When he proposed, I was shocked. Not because he did it, but because of the timing. We never really even spoke about getting married. I thought, well, okay, we're basically living a life already like a married couple. So yeah, okay, okay. I mean, at least now that gut feeling of something is wrong would go away because we would no longer have to hide that we're living together. But that feeling that something wasn't right was already there. I just didn't understand it. I think for a long time that impending doom feeling that I had when it came to thinking of a future with him was because I didn't feel like I was being a good person. And, at least with this proposal and future marriage, we could come clean to my parents. Let me, okay. And by come clean, I mean, not tell them that we had basically been living together secretly for the past 2 years, but, you know, come clean and be like, hey, we're engaged now. We're going to be living together. Then I, would stop feeling like a bad person. And my sweet, sweet, wonderful friend that she didn't have to be in the middle of that occasional awkward lie when she would see my parents very rarely and be like, "Oh, how's living together?" And she had to be like, "Yeah, it's fine. It's good." So, like I was like, "Okay, that's that impending doom." Like I finally get to be fully honest. And okay, so now we're deep diving in. Okay, we're engaged. There's the ring. Okay. And I'm going to sound really mean right now, but the way the proposal happened would not be how I would want to get proposed to. The ring would not be the ring that I chose. Um, so, I mean, there's so many things that were there that were just ignored. Um, but planning the wedding, what a weird, what a weird feeling. Everyone was excited we were getting married. And then in that excitement, there would be like the occasional backhanded comment that, you guys are too young to be getting married. And then in that same tone or voice or person, they would, push, be like, hey, when is the wedding? Like, we're not going to have one of these long engagements or, anything like that. So it was weird. And his mom and my mom took over everything. And I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but that was never my wedding. That feeling of something was wrong that I just didn't understand, well, that was now because we're having this big wedding. I had minimal input. His mom, my parents were the people paying. So, I mean, the guest list wasn't ours, the decisions weren't ours. Like there was no bridezilla. Okay. There was only the momzillas. Like it was a production, and it wasn't me. So, I mean, if you want to do a really quick recap, the proposal, not how I would have wanted to be proposed. It was sweet. I'm not going to rag on it or anything like that, but it was definitely for him and it wasn't for me. The ring, it was basically the same ring that his mom had, little 3 stone. I mean, it was more like an anniversary band than it would have been an engagement ring. So again, not me. When it comes to like weddings and stuff, like I have always, and I've never really changed, but I've been more of like a destination wedding or an elopement. Like that's always been my vibe. And now we're planning this 300 people wedding where maybe on that list there's like 20 of our friends. I was, ooh, I like the Chiavari chairs. And then I get told, like, well, you like champagne things and we have a beer budget, blah, blah, blah. Like my mom would, it was, I digress. I digress. It wasn't me. And, you know, if we're just going on that whole this doesn't feel right, let's just keep adding to it, okay? Because I did it anyway. I had been having these reoccurring doubts about if I really wanted this. And then there was the day before the wedding. It wasn't a doubt. It was really like I really did not want to get married. It was a full-fledged Xenon warrior princess scream in my head that I did not want to marry him. And then we have God, and he's sending me all the signs. He's, you know, already sent them, and he's still sending them. So now I'm going to set you up for later on that night. So it's the night before the wedding. That's rehearsal dinner. And we are having a great time. It was at his friend's mom's house. And I mean, it was beautiful. They worked hard. It was very sweet. I hadn't talked to him about that elephant sitting on my chest to see if, hey, maybe he's feeling like that. Maybe it's normal. Maybe I'm just having cold feet. We just need to talk and, everything might be okay. We haven't had that yet. And before the dinner's over, it's after we have the toast and everything. We were in a group and I noticed he kind of excused himself inside with one of his friends. And then I'm like, wow, been a long time. Looking around, I go to check to see. I'm like, okay, make sure everything's okay. If he needs any help, he's gone. Like Gone, gone boy, bye. Okay, he's gone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, where's my phone? I get my phone. There's no call. There's no message. There's no explanation. Okay. His family is not giving me any information except don't worry. Because, at this point, I'm like, hey, did he have to go run out? Did we run out of everything? There is still a house full of people on this rehearsal dinner kind of party thing. Like he was there and then he was gone. And, there's nothing. So at this point, I'm worried. And some freaking communication would be the one thing that would make me not worry. I mean, he didn't pick up when I called. People are kind of whispering. And the couple people that did know what was going on, bless their hearts, okay? They have this stupid notion that me being in the dark about where my fiance went off to is a good idea. Okay. Stupid notion. And when I had finally reached that point where I verbalized that, like, okay, this is bullcrap. I don't want to get married to someone being so selfish and doesn't think that I deserve a call or a text. And then, I get told, oh, no, 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 it's okay. Tomorrow's going to be the happiest day of my life. I guess, what happened was some of the guys had planned a surprise bachelor party night in Vegas. And, it's okay. He's with John. So, little side note, John is probably late 40s. One of the dads there. So his stepdad's there. John's there. A couple of his younger friends. So married people that probably know that this is not a good idea. This is what I am surrounded around. And it's giving him, it's not his fault that he hasn't done it. They took his phone, they did like a little kidnapping. Okay, excuse me. Hmm. This person, okay, who has known me, grown up with me. I mean, we've dated since high school. It is 4 years down the road now. He knew I had lost two friends in high school in a car accident. And he knows me because like I would never fall asleep in the car on any of the car rides. He'd be like, "Oh no, nap. It's okay. We're driving out to have soon." I'm like, "No, I can't. Like it, it's a trauma. Like I can't do that. It's just the most important thing to me is getting there safely. Like I will not have a fight with you before you leave or anything like that. Like I want to make sure calm, cool, collected because there's too many accidents that happen." Um, he knew I got comfort in the check-in, and he also knew that I didn't need these long phone call explanations. I don't need a paragraph. Like I don't need you to text me every 5 minutes. Like I am a very pretty much secure. I still to this day lose my phone. Like I don't need that much. Like I've even said it where it's like, hey, if you're super busy, whatever letter you can hit on your phone and hit send, because like that's just what you do. I just want to know you're safe. That's it. And I got nothing. So it wasn't the fact that he was kidnapped to go to Vegas for a bachelor party that hurt. It was the fact that he didn't stand up and go like, "Hey, hey, hey, okay, yeah, awesome guys, this is cool. Did did someone let her know?" It wasn't like, "Hey, let me just give her a quick text." It nothing, nothing. That was the big sign from God, the big one, because the day of the wedding, I was still hurt. I was still upset. Crap. You know what? I'll even say it. I was pissed and I was alone. Nobody really understood why I was upset. I think for the most part, like I didn't know how to explain it and or verbalize it, and people were just like, "Oh, she's mad. He went to Vegas." No, no, it was more. I had that gut feeling where like I couldn't see if I were to think being old on a porch with my husband, I could not picture his face. I had never been able to, but I couldn't. And I mean, chalk it up to immaturity and everything like that. But I felt stuck and I felt trapped. And so instead of listening to myself, that gut, that thing that's like, this is not right, just go, I started thinking about everyone else. I was so concerned that people had made plans to come to our wedding and that people took off of work. People traveled, people showed up, they were already here, they were on their way. I would be disappointing them. I mean, how do you call off a wedding you didn't even pay for? I would I felt like I would be so disrespectful to our parents, and not to mention I would be an embarrassment for them. I was such a people pleaser, such a doormat. I didn't listen to myself and I did it anyway. And eventually, everyone, myself included, minimized the way that I felt. And it won. Every part of me knew this was a bad idea. Like I said, I did it anyway. Woo, yay. It was fun. It was a party. You want to hear some more little, um, I don't know what to call them now, like omens or whatnot. My wedding planner was psycho, like cuckoo, cuckoo. Like you would think it was her wedding too. So I have momzillas, I have plannerzilla, and I have me who just wants to be on some remote location doing a destination wedding or an elopement or something. But here I am. We had, I mean, I, you have to laugh at this point. Like you have to laugh. I didn't have a father daughter dance because the wedding planner didn't realize my dad and his old cop buddies had to go to the other wedding down the hall because their guests got so drunk that they started coming into our wedding to go to our bar. So they're sitting up there policing this situation. The groom in the other weddings getting arrested. So, it's they're out there doing that. So I don't know any of that's going on. And it's like the father daughter dance comes on, and my dad's nowhere to be found. And it's just like, I mean, it worked. It was very sweet. I danced with my papa and the sweet, sweet man that he is. And I was blessed enough to have both my grandparents, both sets of my grandparents alive. Was closer with my papa in that side, but he's a very amazing, gracious man. And, you know, I didn't think about it. I just was upset my dad wasn't there. And then, it was like, okay, it's fine. Papa's here. And then halfway through the dance, he goes and gets my other grandpa and I dance with him. But again, like there's so many things that were screaming, this isn't right. And I did it anyway. So here's my marriage reality, right? Because we're married and for a long time. And I'm talking through the dropping out of college, getting married, adult responsibilities and bills, having kids, going back to finish college, having a career, like through all of that. I truly believe that I was in my happily ever after, like, this is what it's supposed to look like. But with that happily ever after, this is what it's supposed to look like during that time, I was his punching bag. I was the scapegoat. If things went wrong, it was my fault. If things went right, it wasn't good enough. I had to walk on eggshells. I had to try to be perfect. Every time he would actually open up and talk to me about, like, I don't know, he would sometimes say he felt like a failure or something like that. It was because of me. And boy, did he let me know it. He had a way of not taking accountability. Like, honestly, it was an art form. He was so good at making any of his shortcomings or mess ups be because of me. And of course, that only made me want to work harder to make him feel better. And his mother, this man was still being breastfed by this woman, like figuratively. Okay. So if you just had your jaw drop and were like, what the crap? No, I just mean his mom. Like, here's an example. Crap, he's still getting breastfed to this day, okay? She helps him pay for his house, his food, his truck, really anything that he needs or wants. Holds his head and, like, she was like, oh, here, turn this way, do this. And he's, yes, yes. It's funny. It's funny. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I love and respect a man that's close to his mom, but this is beyond. Okay. And the level of control she had over our lives, I could do a whole episode on that woman. Queen Puppet Master, the self serving control in what she orchestrated and manipulated. Like, she was in my corner as long as it made her look good. She wanted to look like the godly saint of a woman, and she thrived on people seeing her as that. I mean, and if we did exactly what she wanted, golden. I mean, that's part of the reason why she's able to turn his head and run his life the way that she does, because that's how you're golden. I I mean, I am ashamed to admit that I was so deep into drinking that Kool-Aid that I didn't see or understand anything that was going on. I thought I was lucky to have a mother-in-law like her. I loved her. Like it's sad, but you know, I I now get and understand why, well, partly why my ex treated me the way that he did. I used to joke and be like, "You were so spoiled by me and your mom." And he would laugh and shrug, and I would just continue to spoil him, let him walk all over me, consider me the problem, lose myself more and more and more just to make him feel better, because that's what he expected. As long as he was happy, we were happy. And if you're listening to that thinking like, girl, what were you doing, honey? That was dumb. Nothing about this shared little snippet is healthy or normal behavior. You're right. But when you grow up not being loved properly, always being told that others' thoughts and opinions are more important than your own, that what was important was that I constantly have to put others first. I mean, otherwise, I'm just being selfish. That I don't matter. I don't matter to anyone. And I just need to remember that. You don't know anything different. Like, I married someone that knew this was how I grew up because they had witnessed it firsthand, and then they just used it, used it, and used it. But now, after therapy, lots of different kinds of therapy too, after actually understanding my past, I'm different. Dare I say, stronger. Yeah. Can you say stronger without singing that Britney Spears song in your head? Like I can't, but okay. I mean, I have boundaries. I have self worth. And honestly, I think my trauma makes me funny as hell. And I know I'm healing from it. And healing doesn't mean that I'm perfect or I'm even done healing. I do still have little hiccups. I internalize my feelings. I have difficulty trusting. I can shut down. But now, where I didn't before, I am pursuing creative outlets. So that if there's other people like me, they don't feel alone. Because that's my was my biggest thing. It was like I felt alone. I felt like I was the problem. So, I am a creative person. And so, I started writing a book. Now, in this book, it really goes into detail about this part of my life. And I think what was good about that was I thought silence about the ugly parts of my past made me stronger, right? Because if I acknowledge and if I say the truth of everything that happened, I would look weak. People would judge me. Um, but all I really did was just make the ugly parts stronger. And yeah, at first I remember writing that section and I was embarrassed sharing that I was almost 9 months pregnant when I found out he cheated on me with a prostitute. Like, I mean, full circle moment, right? Because that one screaming gut that was like, don't do this. And I did it anyway, was the bachelor party, like the biggest bachelor party. And now my full circle moment is I'm getting tested to see if I have a STD because he messed up and cheated on me with a prostitute, flushed everything down the drain. That's how I felt. That gut feeling that something went wrong. I mean, in all honesty, Hollywood needs to pick up this book and make it a Netflix moment. It, but staying silent hurt me. It made me feel alone, like no one would understand, but I was wrong. And, even now, like I am loving working on this podcast because I do process by making jokes, being sarcastic, being real and honest, trying to find the funny in a messed up situation and a positive look when things go left. I know this part one is a little bit more serious than where the rest of this series and the rest of this whole podcast is going to go. But I mean, I honestly believe that sometimes when you learn where people are coming from, you have a better understanding of their viewpoint. And the hard part for me about my biggest disaster in love is I knew something was wrong. And even when I tried to fix it, or, at least fix what I thought it was, that feeling never went away. And because I kept trying to quiet my inner voice, I just, I kept listening to him, Queen Puppet Master, my mom. Like, I even listened to my guilt because, at this point, I had brought two kids into this environment, and like it's not okay to be a single mom with two kids. My mom's favorite line, like, honey, you're a minority with two kids, ain't no one going to want to ever want you. The only thing that ever felt right during that time was my kids. I i would be terrified if I was given the opportunity to change any of those horrific things that I went through, because I got two of the best things in my life out of it. I would go through hell and back for my two. I mean, I already have. It it doesn't make any of this right, but I do refuse to view this as a mistake. Now, I'm not telling you guys that if you knew something was wrong and you did it anyway, that, that's okay. I'm not saying that. But I think what I'm saying is that sometimes the beauty in not always listening to that voice saying it feels wrong and then you do it anyway, you can get something good out of it. Not everything is necessarily good that comes out of it, but I can look at you and say, I got two big blessings from it. I got some funny stories. I have growth. I have scars. Scars make you beautiful. Okay, again, one of those words that like earworms you into the song. On my part two of my dating disaster origin story, we're going to get into what happens after, like, picture this: single mom, never adult dated, thrown into the world of modern dating. Oh, I wish I had that like deep trailer movie voice because like I'm trying to set this up for you guys, you know? And just wait until you hear the uncircumcised story. But thanks for listening. I feel like you've gotten to know me a little bit more. I can honestly say I feel a little vulnerable and naked. I guess that's good. And I'm excited to keep sharing. So, yeah, take what works, ignore what doesn't, grab an old fashioned, and don't act surprised because we know things might go left. We just don't know how.